It was late October 2024 when Sarah Jennings, a 34-year-old nurse with a skeptical streak, and her younger brother Ethan, a 27-year-old history buff, decided to visit Waverly Hills Sanatorium. The abandoned hospital, perched on a wooded hill, had been closed since 1961, its brick walls stained with decades of neglect. Sarah had heard the rumors. Thousands of TB patients died there, their bodies whisked down a death tunnel to hide the toll. But she dismissed the ghost stories as tourist bait. Ethan, obsessed with the past, had begged her to join him for a private night tour, one of the few offered before Halloween. Against her better judgment, she agreed. They arrived on October 29th, just as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting the sanatorium's jagged silhouette against a bruised purple sky. The air was heavy with the scent of wet leaves and decay, and a faint mist rolled down from the hilltop. Their guide, a wiry man named Tom with a smoker's rasp, led them and two other visitors, a quiet couple in their 40s, through the rusted gates. "Stay close," Tom warned, his flashlight beam slicing through the dusk. "This place has a way of messing with you." Inside the hospital was a labyrinth of peeling plaster and shattered glass. The group's footsteps echoed off the high ceilings as Tom recounted tales of room 502, where a nurse supposedly hanged herself in 1932, and the shadowy creeper said to stalk the halls. Sarah rolled her eyes, but Ethan hung on every word, his phone recording the tour. The air grew colder as they climbed to the 5th floor, the stairwell creaking under their weight. A faint, rhythmic tapping, like water dripping, followed them, though the pipes had long been dry. On the 5th floor, the corridor stretched into darkness, its windows boarded up, letting only slivers of moonlight seep through the cracks. Tom pointed to room 502, its door ajar, the frame splintered as if forced open. "People hear things here," he said. "Whispers, footsteps, sometimes a scream." Sarah smirked, nudging Ethan. "Sounds like bad plumbing to me." But as she spoke, the tapping stopped, replaced by a low, wet wheeze, like someone struggling to breathe. The group froze, their flashlights darting across the hall. "Probably the wind," Tom muttered, though his voice wavered. Ethan, eager to explore, stepped toward the room 502, peering inside. The room was empty save for a rusted bed frame and a cracked mirror leaning against the wall. "Guys, check this out," he called, his voice echoing. Sarah followed, her skepticism fading as the wheeze grew louder, closer, seeming to come from behind the mirror. She grabbed Ethan's arm. "Let's go back." But before they could move, the couple gasped, the woman pointing at the corridor. "Something's there," she whispered. Sarah turned, her flashlight catching a flicker of movement at the hall's end, a dark, hunched shape scuttling across the floor, too low and fast to be human. The wheeze sharpened into a gurgling cough, now echoing from all directions. Tom's bravado cracked. "We're leaving. Now." The group hurried back toward the stairs, but the air thickened, pressing against their chests like damp cotton. Sarah's lungs burned, each breath a rasp, as if the hospital's old sickness had seeped into her. Halfway down the stairs, Ethan stumbled, his phone clattering to the floor. He bent to grab it, then froze. "Sarah," he croaked, holding up the screen. The audio recorder was still running, and over the static, voices layered, dozens of them, whispering names, dates, pleas, "Help me, 1928, don't leave." The gurgling cough cut through, louder, closer, and Sarah felt it. A cold, wet breath on the back of her neck, sharp with the tang of blood and rot, She spun around, but nothing was there. Only the empty stairwell, the boarded windows staring like blind eyes. Panic took over. They ran, the couple sobbing. Tom shouting directions, the wheeze chasing them down every flight. On the ground floor, the exit loomed, but as they reached it, the door slammed shut, the lock clicking with a sound like snapping bone. Ethan pounded on it, screaming, while Sarah's flashlight caught the mirror from room 502, now impossibly propped against the wall beside them. In its cracked surface, she saw it, a mass of pale skeletal figures crowding behind their reflections, their mouths gaping, exhaling mist that fogged the glass. One reached out, its bony fingers brushing the mirror's edge, and Sarah swore she felt the touch, icy, wet, real, on her hand. The door burst open on its own, and they spilled into the night, collapsing on the gravel. Tom radioed for help, his hands shaking, while the couple fled to their car without a word. Sarah and Ethan didn't speak until they were miles away, the sanatorium a dark smudge in the rear view. At home, Ethan played the recording again. The whispers were gone, replaced by a single, clear voice, hers, saying, "I can't breathe," though she'd never spoken those words. The next day, October 30th, Sarah woke with a cough, a deep, wet hack that wouldn't stop. By nightfall, her mirror fogged with each breath, though the room was warm. She hasn't gone near a hospital since, but every night she feels it, that cold, bloody breath on her neck, waiting.